Law number 1 states that an object will not move its motion unless another force acts on it.
Axle shafts.
Law number 2 states that the force on an object is equal to its mass times its acceleration.
Axle shafts.
The third law states that when two objects interact, they apply forces to each other in equal magnitude and opposite direction.
Axle shafts.
The very thing that made me start the channel is this Jeep. I spent a lot of my free time when I was off work watching Jeep videos, learning how to do stuff, learning things from my dad, learning things from my buddies, teaching my kids how to do stuff. My daughter has helped me with this. My 2 sons have helped me with this. My dad and my buddy have helped me with this. A lot of people have had a hand in this, and I've had this old girl for a long time now. And, you know, it's something I'd kind of like to pass down to the kids someday if they so choose to have it. But it's got a lot of good memories. First night I bought this thing, I actually got it stuck up in the mountain, and that was a whole fiasco, but it just never stopped from there. So from that point on, I decided to build it, because I've had 5 Jeeps now. I've had a TJ, I've had a ZJ, I've had 3 XJs, and I just can never seem to stay away from these. So here we are again. I bought this thing a few years ago. I bought it for $2,000 in Scranton, PA, off a guy that had a welding business, and he used it as a work vehicle, and it ran good. It was in pretty good shape, and he took really good care of it. It was all stock. It's just a '96 Jeep Cherokee Sport. There wasn't anything special about it, but he did maintain it. He changed the suspension parts. There was new shocks, new ball joints, new tire rod ends. All that stuff was taken care of. He maintained it as far as oil changes. So I really couldn't bitch for that price. So I ended up buying it off of him. I think I found it on, I want to say I found it on Craigslist. So I seen it that day, and I went and picked it up either that day or the following day. And I've kind of had it ever since. My kids absolutely love this thing, so there was a couple times money was a little tight and I thought I was going to have to get rid of it, but I was fortunate enough where I was able to hang on to it. So I'm going to continue building on it. It's been down for exactly 1 year, a little over 1 year. Last Thanksgiving, I think, I took it for a drive in the woods, and I managed to snap the carrier in the rear completely shattered. The cage that holds the spider gears, that's completely gone. It just snapped in half. and which there's really no shame for that. This thing has seen a lot of burnouts, especially on these 31s, but no shame for that. It happens. And the front axle, the yoke that holds the U-joint just completely sheared off on the driver's side. So got new axle shafts for it. I'm gonna put them in, but I'm still waiting on some parts. I'm waiting on wheel bearings. The brakes in this are, well, we'll just leave it at that. It has brakes. Physically, they don't work. That's what insurance is for, but that is what it is. So today I just kind of want to go over this with you because I do get a lot of questions about this, and this has kind of been the flagship for my channel. I mean, there is no taking this off. So here it is. And you know, I really enjoyed driving this thing. I enjoy building it. I enjoy teaching my kids things about it, and I enjoy working with my dad on it. And yeah, I just kind of want to share this with you guys, and hopefully you guys can take away something from the videos that I'm going to be making on it. And I'm really not going to be doing a whole lot today, but like I said, I do still get a lot of questions on it, what I have done to it, how I did some things, and again, it's just going to be an overview of that, and I'm going to stop rambling now and do a walk around of the Jeep. Because back when I started the channel, I did a really poor walk around of it, but you know, it was what it was. I didn't really know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying. So here it is. I hope you enjoy it. It's a 96 Jeep Cherokee XJ. It's a sport. It's the 4-door. 4-liter automatic. It's got Dana 35 rear, Dana 30 from the front. When I started the lift on this, I did just a budget lift. It was a lift from Top Gear Customs, I believe it was. I got it on eBay. I think it was like 90 bucks. It was just drop shackles in the rear. It was like 2 or 3. Yeah, I want to say it was 2-inch drop shackles in the rear. I got them because they're built really well and they're greasable, which I'll show you in a minute. And then I just had like a 3-inch spacer in the front. I didn't have a lot of money at the time, so that was what I had to work with. And as I worked and saved more money, I got better parts. But the spacers, you know, if you're just starting out and you want to lift your Jeep, that's all fine and good, but they ride like garbage. If you can avoid it, do it. But anyhow, I upgraded the front coil. The fronts are 4-inch or 4.5-inch. They're Rubicon Express coils. So I did the 4-inch coils up front. I did the adjustable sway bar end links, and they're also, I think they're quick disconnect. I don't know. Can't remember. I thought one side had a pin on it. I guess I could, yeah, I guess I'm wrong. But anyhow, let me get some light in here so you guys can see. There we go. And shed a little light on the subject. So we got the 4-inch Rubicon Express coils, 4 or 4.5, whatever, and got those off eBay. I think they were like 89, 90 bucks. They weren't very expensive. These things were kind of salty. These are Rubicon, and my shocks, I also went with Rubicon. They weren't the most expensive, but they weren't the cheapest either. My first set of shocks was from Skyjacker, and I don't want to talk crap on any companies, but you know, if people are going to spend their hard-earned money on something, you want to buy something good. And I haven't had good luck with Skyjacker. They didn't take long to blow out at all, but that's just me. Maybe your experience was different. But anyway, for wheels, I have some cheap Chinese tires. They're Nankang Mud Stars. These are 31 by 10 and a half, and that's a 15-inch. It's a 15-inch Pro Comp wheel. They're 15 by 8s. I believe these are called Pro Comp alloys, They're not a very expensive wheel, and they do clean up good, but I never clean them, so even for never not taking care of them and neglecting them, I mean, they don't rust in the winter, and that's a good thing because I do drive this in the winter sometimes. Let's see, go around front here. Stock bumper, left the stock bumper because I still have the stock fender flares, because stock fender flares come down into a chin spoiler, and I left all that. I like the looks just because a lot of people that have these Jeeps, I think they're overdone. Again, that's just my personal opinion, but I really like the stock looks of them. If I could change one thing to this externally, though, I'd probably do a visor, like a fiberglass visor. I really like the looks of them, but we'll get around to it. Headlights. Don't really care for the look of these, but they're like one of the best headlights you can get. I went with these simply for cheap insurance, and what I mean by that is, you know, I can see very clearly at night. I have no problem seeing with these. These are called JW speaker light. Let me turn my light off here a second. These are JW speaker lights. If it'll focus. Doesn't seem like it's focusing. There we go. They're the JW speaker lights. I had the option between this. Okay, there we go. My autofocus was off. I had the option between these and truck light lights, and I like the look of these a little bit better. They seem to work just as good. They're really salty. They're like $500 for a set of lights, but they're worth it. I've had them for a while. I've never had any problems with them. I do want to upgrade the wiring harness to the lights. That will help. These are eBay specials. They're just clear marker lights to kind of match the look of these. I also went with clear parking lights, but sitting out in the weather all that time, these are only about a year old, but you can see they're starting to discolor already. That one not as bad, but they get a lot of condensation in. Stock grill, repainted the grill. I think at one point I had new bezels or a new bezel. I think I replaced this one. I replaced one of them, but anyhow, all that's going to be new and repainted. Parts aren't expensive, and that's the great thing about these too, is parts are really plentiful. Up here for driving lights, we got the Hello driving lights. These are like, I want to say they're 60-watt driving lights. You can pick them up on eBay, JC Whitney. They have these things everywhere. These are more of a pencil style beam, so they work good for these because these spread out more whenever you're driving down the road, and this just fills in the gap in between, so you can see pretty much everything with everything on. So I have no problem seeing at night whatsoever. Alright, what else we got? If you've been following the channel for a while, you've seen this. Me and my dad repainted the hood. This is a fiberglass hood scoop. It would be like a universal hood scoop for a first generation S10, one of the square body S10s, and fits on there pretty damn good. It is functionable. I know a lot of people were probably thinking that first thing, but yes, there's holes underneath here, and it does, I guess more than anything, it probably extracts heat because the heat's coming up out of the motor. It's not really ramming anything down in there, but it never gets hot on me. I do have an aluminum radiator. I guess I can get into that right now. Mirrors, while I'm thinking about it. The mirrors are off of a 97 to 01 XJ. I don't really like the shape of these. I like the square looks of the other ones, but they're a bitch to see out of just because of this pillar. So you can take the window out of a 97 to 01 and put that in there so you have the one piece glass. I just didn't feel like going through all the trouble to do that. It was just a lot easier to buy mirrors and throw them on. So did the mirrors. Continue to walk around here quick. When I got this Jeep, all the floorboards were gone, and when I say gone, they were gone. So it has new floor, it has a new cargo pan in it, has new front floor pans, and a piece of the rear pan. The rear wasn't so bad, but some of that was replaced. Me and my dad actually did some body work to this. It was this side or the other side, I don't remember, but this was like a quarter size hole in the one, and then like this whole half was rotted out on the other side. So we did that. Stock taillights, they are new, and I cleaned them up a little bit. This thing needs cleaned because it's been sitting for a year now with nothing done to it. So usually I keep some kind of wax or protectant on it, but probably save that for another video. I just got off work, I'm kind of tired, so kind of just want to go over this with you guys quick. Did put a new bumper on it. New bumper is just a factory replacement. Put new end caps on it. I put these marker lights in, and the reason why I put these marker lights in is because it had a hole in here. I'm guessing for a bumper guard, because some of these were optioned with those ugly ass bumper guards, and it's not for me. And I didn't really like that my brand new bumper had holes in it either, so threw some lights in there. That took care of that. And I bed lined this with I think it was the Rust-Oleum bed liner from Walmart. Also did a video on that earlier on the channel, but it's holding up really good. No complaints with that. So there's that. I did a video earlier on the channel also on the fender flares. I took these out and painted inside the wheel well. Turn my light on here. Did all that. I painted everything in the wheel well. But when I took these flares off, there's retainers inside these, and they were all rotted out because the salt and everything, the elements just got to them. So I ordered new retainers, painted them, took care of them. Like I said, I have a video on that too. Fender flare restoration, I believe it was. But there's that. Still have yet to tint my windows. I did want to get ready to do that, and I had some pre-cut tints for it, but it was windy out when I decided to do it that day, and it just didn't work out. So ended up taking that off. I'll revisit that again later. I hate tinting windows. I do have a CB mounted in it, so put an antenna on it. It's just a fiberglass whip and a spring-loaded mount, I guess. So if it hit trees or anything, I mean, it bends. You can bend it the whole way around. It's not going to come off, and it's good and sturdy right there because it's next to a body line, so don't have to worry about that. Does have the factory tint in the rear windows. Trying to think. I don't really want to miss anything because I do get a lot of questions about this. I was thinking about maybe put some lights on the hood, maybe light up the underneath of the scoop. I don't know yet. That was just a thought. Any input from you guys would be much appreciated. But I'll pop the hood quick and I'll show you that, and then I'll do a little tour of the inside. And that'll probably be that for the day. So, no peeking, no peeking. Okay. All right, so there you have it. There's the 4-liter. It's getting ready to turn 200,000. Let's see. I'm trying to get down. It's been a while, guys. It's been off the road for a year, and I'm trying to go through in my head everything I did to it. But I guess we'll start over in this corner. Put an Optima yellow top in it. And I started making new battery cables. This is 4/0 welding cable. And went with the military style battery terminals. They work a little better. I still got to do my hot side yet. But I've been working on my ground. Did that. Need to do my hot side yet. Okay, let's see. I got the XL ignition coil. That was a bastard to change. I could barely get in there, but got it. That seems to work pretty good. Went with the MSD cap. I don't remember what these wires were. Might be some eBay specials. Where are they? Looking for a number or something. I believe they were 8mm wires. They're pretty thick. I am in dire need of a valve cover gasket, so I got to do that. And normally, I mean, anybody that knows me would know you could eat off my motors, but I really got to clean this up in here. Did the aluminum radiator. Walk around this side so you guys can see it. Did the aluminum radiator. No, I don't have a fan shroud, and yes, I still have all my fingers. So, I do want to build something for that, because I did whack my fingers off this once or twice, and it doesn't feel good. New water pump, new fan clutch. I got rid of some of the hoses, goofy hoses and stuff. I want to do a catch can and get rid of these weird ass breathers. That was just for crankcase ventilation. No purpose other than that. I just didn't want hoses running from my air cleaner to valve cover. That's not for me. Less is more. Took my fuel rail off, wrapped that in heat insulation. It's header wrap, exhaust wrap, I guess. These are the 4-hole neon injectors. And yes, I did notice a difference, but I gotta say, I noticed the difference more after I did the throttle body. This is the BBK throttle body. I believe it was a 68mm. I have the 1-inch spacer on it. I really should port match that to the throttle body, because I think one's bigger than the other. So it's kind of like bottleneck effect right now, I guess. But left the stock air cleaner. The reason I left the stock air cleaner is because these air filters are cheap, and I like to change my air filter every time I change my oil. It's cheap to replace, so why not? One of my earlier videos, I did a video on this. Took the having a brain fart. Took the Schrader valve out of the fuel rail and screwed on the adapter, and then I screwed a fuel pressure gauge onto this, so I can keep it on my fuel pressure. I know right where it should be at, and that all works good. Coming around here, I have wiring for stereo, and I wrapped a lot of it in electrical tape just to try and clean things up a little bit. There are some things I want to do. Like I said, I want to do a catch can. If you guys watch Nick in Time films at all, he has a really cool video on doing a man, I'm just drawing blanks today, guys. Coolant filter, that's it. He has a really cool video on doing coolant filter. So let's do some digging here. I don't know. I'm sure I'll come across it later. Oh, there it is. Right when I'm not looking for it, I find it. So, coolant filter. Got this to do yet. I got to run lines. I want it to go feed through this before it goes into the heater core, so I can trap anything in the cooling system. Like I said, Nick in Time Films has a really good video on this. I'll leave a thing down here below so you guys can check out his channel, and maybe you guys can find his video on it. I found it useful. So if you're watching this, Nick, thank you. I appreciate it. But here is the and he did the same thing, by the way, but here's the part number to that if you guys are interested in doing the cooling filter on your Jeep. That's the part number. Anyhow, getting back to this. Stereo. I love stereos. I love doing custom systems. I made these for the bottom of my Jeep. I have to wrap them yet. And the interior that I said we would get to, we're getting there. Just calm down, hold your horses. These will go on the bottoms of my doors. The rear doors had no speakers in from factory, at least to my knowledge, in 96 and back. I don't know if 97 and up did, but I know these ones didn't. So these are going to get wrapped. These are going to get 6x9s in them. I made 2 for the back doors and 2 for the front doors. They'll get wrapped in the headliner that everybody keeps asking me about. Oh yeah, underneath that hood scoop, drilled a couple holes to let some heat out of the motor. Didn't lose any structural integrity of it because the lines are still stamped there. It's just letting some heat out right above the valve cover, which has been awesome actually. But turn the light back on here a second. Okay, so this is what I get questions about all the time. And it's crazy because, I mean, I guess it's probably the one thing that people can do on the cheap that maybe isn't that hard for them to start learning if they want to get into cars. But I wrapped this headliner in a quilted vinyl material. I did this headliner and another headliner to an OBS Chevy pickup. It came out really nice. It is really thick. And one thing I found about doing these headliners, you know, you want to get something that's pretty stretchy or, you know, has some kind of give to it. Because when these get hot, I had a camo headliner in here when I got it. And I wasn't too crazy about it. It was alright. It was something different, I guess. But, again, not really fitting the style I was going after. So I switched it to this because I kind of wanted more of like an old school look to it. But it is like a vinyl. It's pretty thick. But one thing I found with that camo headliner is that wasn't stretchy. So when it would get hot out, it would get tight. And when it would get cold, or I'm sorry, when it was cold it would get tight and then it would pull at the seams, and then when it get hot it would droop on the sides where it was pulled tight. So if you're gonna do your own headliner, that's great, but word of caution, use something that's gonna stretch. Coming up here, these are out of I think a 97. I don't actually remember. They're just different visors. They had the vanity lights in them, which I didn't bother to hook up. I just needed something that was a different color because my old ones were pretty ripped up. My buddy was fortunate enough to have this out of his Jeep, and he gave me it, and I'm really thankful for that. So Derek, if you're watching, thank you. What's cool about this is the date code on this is a 96. So this is a CB from a 96 in my 96 Cherokee. And I thought that was really neat. And like I said, Derek, if you're watching this, I appreciate it. Thank you. You're awesome. But yeah. So moving along here. Redid the gauges. The gauges are all LED. Turn my light off again. The gauges are all LED. I cleaned everything up in there. I wish I would have made a video on that, but I kind of started all that stuff before I had my YouTube channel established. So, yeah, there's what the gauges look like. They're pretty bright. Did the LEDs in the heater panel. Did the LED in the transfer case. And some of those marker lights that I had on my bumper, that's what I put down here. Just for, yeah, so you can see the floor and stuff at night, which is great because it doesn't shine in your eyes at night. So that makes it really nice. Let's see here. Like I mentioned before, this is an automatic, but if you guys are interested and you don't like your T-handle setup, I didn't really like the T-handle setup, so I put the shift bezel in from a manual and the shift boot from a manual, and got rid of my T-handle, and I just locked out the safety switch. I think I either disconnected it or zip tied it. You'll see under here what switch keeps, because you can't just rip your T-handle off, otherwise your ignition won't work. So that's one thing to keep in mind if you're going to do this, if you're going to take your T-handle off anyway. But yeah, manual shift bezel, because this is just an automatic, nothing special. But I didn't like the look of the T-handle, so got rid of that. Did a stereo, and I did this voltmeter here because these are just like blank spaces. So I didn't really like that blank space. I wanted to do something with it. So put a voltmeter in there. It was just an eBay special, but it does its job. I'm happy with it. Now, as far as the stereo goes, I did take the sub and amp setup I had in here. I just had a 12-inch sub with like a 2001 amp. I had that in here for quite a while, but I have a little something up my sleeve I want to do, and I'll get to that later. But the headliner, again, back to the headliner, but the headliner is out of a 97 to 2001 Cherokee, and it was with the optional speakers that were recessed in the headliner, because the 97 and back only had a soundbar back there, and mine had a soundbar back there. So I took the one off my original headliner, which is up here, and I moved it up front. I'm not that tall, I'm only 5'8", so no, I don't smack my head off of it. All my buddies bitch about it, but I don't care. It's my Jeep. But anyhow, I did do new floors in it, and I did do new carpets in it. That's great. My battery is about to die. Alright, so got new carpet in it. Got the floor liners in it. These are made by Outland. They're a little bit cheaper than the WeatherTech mats, so I went with them instead. Just as good. It's a floor mat, so it does its job. They fit really nice too. Stock seats, nothing done to them. I just took them out and cleaned them up. I did change everything over to LED. Gonna try and make this quick before my phone dies. Did the floor liners in the rear as well. Factory back seat. Like I said, new carpets. Did 4-channel amplifier, which you can't really see all that well, but 4-channel amplifier. I have 2 4-inch speakers in the hatch, and by the way, everything's Rockford Fosgate. 2 4-inch in the rear hatch. 2 6.5 or 5.5 up here, in here, and 2 in the front doors. But all the doors will be switched to 6x9s, and I would like to go with like a 2 12-inch setup. Don't mind the back, it's a little messy. Do want to get this cleaned up and hopefully make a video on that, but it's just been really busy lately. I really haven't had time. New cargo pan, new insulation, new carpet. Ultimately, I would like to build a speaker box back here, like a sub box, and then have it enclosed with a net to separate the cargo area from up there. I did want to show you guys one other thing before I hop off here. So this is that material I used on the headliner, and you can see how thick it is. This is the headliner for that truck there, but this is what I used for the headliner. It works out really nice, and this is what I'll be wrapping those wood pieces in that I showed you earlier. Got the crown diff covers, front and rear. These are really thick. They're really inexpensive, and they seem to work good. Fox steering stabilizer, Rubicon track bar. Let me think here. I'll just scoot along to the side here. Rough country tubular lower control arms. Core 4x4 adjustable upper control arm. Did the drop kit for the lower control arm, which if you're gonna keep your short arms and not do long arm, definitely do this. It made it 10 times nicer. And again too, if you're not gonna do adjustable lowers, I would recommend doing at least an adjustable upper so you can move your pinion around. But the bottom lower tubular control arms keep the same length as a stock bar, but you still have to bring the angle down so it's not, your angles aren't different, and that helps out a lot, that drop bracket right there. And then underneath that cover are a bunch of problems, and hopefully that's what I'll be getting to soon. I have a new, well, not a new carrier, but a used carrier out of another Jeep that was decent. Rubicon shocks. I gotta put a new gas tank in it just because everything else is new. I'd really like to do that. These are the shackles, they're greasable. And I did new leaf springs in the back. Went with the heavy duty ones. They're still the factory ones, but they're just heavy duty, whatever that means. I don't know if there's an extra leaf in from factory, but they did settle quite a bit, but they keep it pretty level with the lift that's on the Jeep. I like the way it looks, so that's what I'm running. That's what I had the money for. That's what I'm running. And this is what we'll be getting into next. Set this down a second. So this whole cage on mine snapped in half. The whole carrier broke in half. I've never seen one break there, but yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting because oddly enough, when it broke, I was doing a donut in the gravel, so I don't know if it was bouncing when I was sliding. I honestly can't remember, but yeah, this is what failed, this cage, not the spider gears. I've blown out a lot of rear ends, and the spider gears are usually what fails, so I'm amazed that they still held up. It did take a chunk of my ring gear out whenever this decided to up and leave, so I gotta do something about that. I'm thinking about re-gearing it to 411s, but we'll see. It has 355s in it right now, and on 31s, that actually works pretty good. I've drove this Jeep down to North Carolina twice, and in that amount of time, I was getting 17 to 19 mile per gallon with it. And if you look at the build sheet on one of these from factory, that's what they were getting factory on stock tires. So I really can't think of anything else to say. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever, drop me a comment down below and I'll gladly get back to you on it. But other than that, that's Jeep. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.